1 week has already passed. Mike made an expose on the company. His video gained more than 2 million views, but unfortunately there was no reaction from the company. They continue to stay silent and lie low. But does this mean that nothing has changed? This week, Supcaman unexpectedly appeared, under his pseudonym, of course. He wrote the letter W in Zach Dorr's chat, and also published a short about Male Zero. And still, why is Mike silent? You'll learn this and much more in today's video. Also, at the moment, Door Closer is responding on stream, but we'll talk about that in another video, so don't forget about the like, and let's begin. Yes, after Mike's video, the company didn't react in any way, but something else happened. For example, some YouTubers who don't belong to the Skibidi Toilet community reacted to this situation. Also, many articles appeared on the internet. Here, for example, is an article in the major publication Popverse. As I already said in previous videos, this won't be an instant defeat of the company. This is a continuation of our domino that we've been building for several months. But I'm sure that the company knows about Mike's video and knows about his offer to help Alexey. And here let's stop in more detail, because the appearance of an article on Popverse is much more important than it may seem. Popverse isn't a fan blog or a small channel. This is a major publication that writes about movies, comics, and pop culture, covers such events as Comic-Con in San Diego and New York. And now they're writing about our conflict, about Skibidi Toilet, about Alexey, about Invis. What does this mean? It means the story has finally gone beyond the fandom. Even a month ago, mainly those who already followed Skibidi Toilet knew about the conflict. And now it's being read by people who aren't in the topic at all. People who came to the site to read about Marvel or Star Wars and stumbled upon a headline about a real legal war going on around Skibidi Toilet. And notice how the article is structured. The author directly references Mike's video as the main source of information. That is, Mike's work is already becoming a reference point for journalists. Publications take his analysis and retell it to their audience. This is exactly the domino effect I'm talking about. One lawyer's video generates dozens of articles and reactions, each of which brings the truth to a new audience. The article retells the entire chain of events: how Alexey signed the agreement transferring rights, how the channel was renamed from Supcaman to just Skibidi, and how the audience perceived this renaming skeptically, seeing in it corporate machinations that pushed the creator out of his own work. And this is the key moment. Even an outside publication that just describes the facts comes to the same conclusion as us. The creator was pushed out. This is no longer our subjective position. This is how the situation is seen from the outside. Separately, I want to draw attention to how the article describes the company's silence regarding Michael Bay and the film. The author directly writes that it's unclear how all these legal problems will affect Michael Bay's plans to make a film adaptation of Skibidi Toilet. That is, even journalists see that this whole story with the film is hanging in a suspended state. No specifics, only uncertainty. And this once again confirms what we've been saying for a long time. There's no real film yet. There are only conversations. Now let's return to the most interesting event of the week, to Alexey's appearance. Yes, formally, it was Door Closer, his pseudonym, but we know who's behind it. And here's what's important. Alexey wrote just one letter in Zach Dorr's chat, W. For those who aren't aware of internet slang, W means victory, something good, some approval, seemingly a trifle. One letter. But in the context of the whole situation, this is a very significant gesture. Think about it. A person who is forbidden by contract to publicly speak about the company and the conflict finds a way to show his attitude without violating the agreement. He doesn't write anything direct. He doesn't criticize the company. He just puts a W under Zach Dorr's content, which supports the Let Boom Speak movement. This is a subtle but clear signal, a way to say, I'm with you without uttering a single forbidden word. And this is very much in Alexey's spirit. Remember how he always hid hidden meanings in his works. He's a master of nonverbal messages, and now, being bound by a contract, he uses the same technique. One letter W is his way of communicating with the community through the wall of restrictions that was built around him. And what's strange, instead of Achlela, he publishes a short called Male Zero, where he made a reference to the series Stranger Things. Apparently, he's currently watching this series, otherwise I can't explain why he published this. By the way, the same references were also in Skibidi Toilet, namely in episode 68, where he made a reference to the series Breaking Bad. If we move by this logic, then possibly at that moment he was watching this series. Otherwise, there's no explaining random references to something that isn't in the center of attention of most people. Alexey behaves like a person who isn't going to give up, but at the same time, acts extremely cautiously. Each of his steps is calculated. He supports the community but doesn't cross the line of the contract. He creates content but under a pseudonym. He gives signals but doesn't make direct statements. This is the behavior of a person who's waiting for the right moment. And, possibly, that's exactly why Mike is silent after his video. Let's reason about this. Many expected that right after the expose, some turbulent development would begin, that Mike would release a continuation, that Alexey would write to him, that everything would spin up. But so far, silence. And this, actually, is normal. Legal processes don't work like that. They're not about loud statements every day. They're about thorough, quiet preparation. If Mike really took on helping Alexey, or if Alexey reached out to him, the last thing they would do is discuss it publicly. Real work on such cases goes on behind closed doors. Mike's silence may mean not that nothing is happening, but exactly the opposite. That something serious is happening, about which it's too early to talk. Although, as I already said at the beginning, I have another assumption. It's quite possible that Alexey won't write to Mike at all. And the reason is simple. A person like Alexey, who conducted business with a major company for years, almost certainly already consulted with his own lawyer long before Mike offered help. He's not a naive newcomer. He went through signing the contract, through the conflict, through all these months of pressure. He surely has his own legal support. And this is confirmed in the correspondence between Alexey and Adam, where Alexey mentions his lawyer. So Mike's offer, for all its sincerity and importance, could be rather a symbolic gesture, a way to publicly show support and attract attention, rather than a literal invitation to cooperation. And even if Alexey doesn't write to Mike personally, the video itself already did a huge thing. It brought the story to a new level, generated a wave of articles and reactions, and showed the company that serious people are now following the situation. Let's be honest with ourselves. We're in a phase of waiting, and this is probably the hardest phase of all. When there's an active struggle, when there's movement, there's a goal, there's something to fight for right now, this gives energy. But waiting exhausts differently. You did everything you could, and now it only remains to watch and wait for how the other sides will react. But I want you to understand, waiting isn't defeat. Waiting is part of the process. We built a huge domino over these months. We attracted journalists, lawyers, major publications. We forced the story to go beyond the fandom. And now, the dominoes are beginning to fall one after another, but at their own pace, not by our wish. As for Mike's offer, let's look at this from another side. For some reason, it seems to me that Defouk won't write to him, because Alexey clearly discussed the contract with his lawyer even before Mike. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, and they're now discussing how the contract can be circumvented. We'll live and see. It remains for us to just observe and wait. And here's what I want to say last. Don't let the silence deceive you. The fact that the company is silent doesn't mean it's fine. On the contrary, when you have something to answer, you answer. And when you stay silent for weeks after a public expose from a lawyer with millions of views, this says that there's nothing to answer. That any word will only worsen the situation. Their silence isn't strength, it's being cornered. The same with Mike's silence. It may mean quiet work behind the scenes. The same with Alexey's caution. It means he's waiting for the right moment, not that he gave up. At least when Alexey decides to give up, he'll unsubscribe from this account on X. All this silence is deceptive. Under its surface, much is moving. Our task now is simple. Continue to maintain the pressure. Spread articles like the one that came out on Popverse. Support Mike's video so it gains even more views and attracts even more attention. Write to other lawyers and reviewers so the story sounds from an increasing number of platforms. Each such action is another domino that we put in place. 9 months ago, no one believed that an internet conflict around a series about toilets would reach federal court, professional lawyers, and major pop culture publications. But here, it reached, and only thanks to the fact that we didn't give up. So let's not give up now either, at the most crucial moment when the domino has finally begun to fall. Notice how the scale changed in 1 week. Before, only we, the Skibidi YouTubers, wrote about the conflict. Now, outside channels and major publications like Popverse are writing about it. Before, we could be called a group of dissatisfied subscribers. Now, it's being covered as a real legal story in pop culture. This is a huge shift that happened literally before our eyes in a matter of days. And this is the best proof that our efforts are working. This has been Super Cameraman. See you very soon. Good luck, everyone, and goodbye to all.